Whoopie pigs! Okay. Hello and welcome to Mostly Motion. You join us on a freezing cold morning on the bikes at Casterbridge bright and early, and that's near White River in South Africa. My name is Niels, and that's me on the ground counting my teeth and checking for broken bones after quite a bad crash a little bit less than a kilometer away from our start at Casterbridge. So obviously I'm not a great rider. Hell, I don't even think I'm a good rider. Anyway, no major injuries, so myself and 7 more guys head out to do some enduro or technical trail riding. We think it's hard enduro, but I don't know. Maybe watch this video and comment below on your definition of what enduro riding is and what you think we're doing. So back on the bikes and heading out towards our first obstacle for today, asking myself why I don't rather do something like online gaming or joining a chess club or something like that. It's clearly less expensive and way less hazardous. So the guys I'm riding with, we'll start with Johan, who bought my old KTM 200 and instantly rode like Billy Bolt. It's annoying how good he got so quickly. The mechanical genius Flippy on his Husky 300 is 2018, with 4-stroke Forever Tyron on the 4-stroke Yamaha 250 FX, and Nick, who's still recovering from a bit of a bad case of COVID over a month ago. Jock with his superbike background, and a younger, fitter Edouan on his KTM 300. Andrew's also there, and his bike is mostly always broken. He also had a bit of a long night last night, so we'll give him a pass on this one. Here we approach a section called Mfezi. It's quite technical and rough downhill. I'm not sure who named it or why, but it has a name, and it strikes fear into all amateur riders. So what we're riding today are 2 of the sections of last year's Casterbridge Enduro, which I rode only 2 weeks after buying the KTM 200 that Johan is riding now. It's quite interesting to see where I've made some improvements in my riding in 6 or 7 months after breaking my wrist, and also where I'm still making the same old mistakes. Here's some footage from last year's event, and by this stage I was already properly tired. I did not know what I was in for. Who enters an enduro race 2 weeks after buying their bike? So if you've ever searched for bike advice or which bike to buy on most platforms on the internet, you would have come across this notion that it's 80% the rider and 20% the bike. Well, that's kind of ironic here in our ride today, because the 2 best riders by far are Tyron on his 4-stroke Yamaha and Johan on his aged KTM 200 at this stage. Both of them not being considered prime enduro bikes, but these guys are showing us up at every single obstacle. The rest of us are actually on some variant of the KTM 300 Enduro 2-stroke machines. So let me know what you think of these new angles. I've put a GoPro on the back of my bike, on the fender there, and I've also got a GoPro on my helmet mount. Unfortunately for today, I can't use my in-helmet mic because I broke this stupid GoPro brick sound mic adapter dongle thing. I've been searching far and wide for definitions of what enduro is, when trail riding does become enduro, and when enduro becomes hard enduro, what it means to have classic enduro, and a lot of it has to do actually with the bikes. So according to Wikipedia, enduro riding is mostly done on larger capacity 2-stroke motorcycles with a lighter weight and the two-stroke power delivery that is kind of ideal. It also has something to do with the suspension travel. Somewhere along the 300mm front suspension travel is considered to be okay for an enduro bike. But what sort of terrain becomes enduro, and where does trail riding stop? What is hard trail riding, and where does enduro start? Is it even relevant, and does it matter what you call enduro or what you feel enduro is? These are all the questions that I'm afraid we aren't going to be able to answer in this video, but I know that in the Lowveld, this sort of terrain is considered enduro terrain because we have the Lowveld Enduro Club. If you haven't heard of them, they are the guys who arrange all the races around here, and they are an incredibly active and involved club in the community. So if you do live in the Lowveld area, that's the Mpumalanga region of South Africa, consider joining the club. It'll help the club out a lot, and it'll make sure that you're up to date with all the races and events that are happening. So back to this question of what is enduro. Well, personally, in my opinion, and it's not a very experienced opinion whatsoever, in fact, I'm one of the least experienced riders here. But what I think is, if it needs some technical skill, you can't just ride it. It's not a cross-country kind of event, and it's not the cross-country kind of terrain. And it takes you a little longer than, let's say, an hour to do a 30-kilometer loop for the good guys, and for us mere mortals, it's going to take around 2 hours to do a 30-kilometer loop with some technical rock sections and maybe some difficult terrains and some ruts. Also, some steep climbs and maybe a log or two to hop over. At the very least, you must be able to get your front wheel off the ground to cross a log, and you must have fun while doing it and uttering a couple of swear words. Also, in my opinion, enduro should be what it is for different people. There should be different levels of enduro for different skills of riders, so that as you advance, you can still enjoy the sport somewhat. Unfortunately, I do think that enduro riding is the most difficult when you start out. So if you are beginning, if you are starting out, if you are a novice rider, just keep at it. Watch some of these videos on YouTube. There are incredible videos on some tips, tricks and techniques that could make you a better rider in a couple of weeks just by training some of these techniques. Maybe some other techniques and training videos on this channel coming up really soon. So as we start approaching the end of this video, I'd like to tell you about some upcoming videos that we are going to have on the channel. One of them is going to be a preview of the track and trails for the upcoming Malalan Enduro. That's happening on the 28th of August, so it's a little bit less than a month away as this video goes live. Unfortunately, I'm not able to ride the trail in advance. If I do, I won't be able to enter the race. But one of the marshals, Johan, said he would take some GoPro footage of the trail and send it through to me, or give it to me, so that we can make a video and try and see the terrain a little bit and anticipate what sort of terrain and tracks we have to expect for the race. Super excited, and a lot of us are going to enter. This is going to be a good one. If you like this, please subscribe. There's more of these kind of videos that are going to come up, and this channel wasn't initially started to be an enduro channel. It just is how it happened. Anyway, so much more of these kind of videos coming up right here on Mostly Motion. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Thank you for watching Mostly Motion.